In the far reaches of northern Botswana, the sun reigns supreme over Mombo, casting a golden, searing light across the endless savanna. Its rays stretch unbroken, painting the land in hues of ochre and amber, as if the very air itself is aflame. The earth below is a tapestry of fissures and scars, each crack a testament to months without rain. The relentless heat draws every drop of moisture from the soil, leaving behind a brittle crust that crumbles beneath the weight of passing herds. Once these floodplains teemed with life, rivers snaked through lush grasses, nourishing all who dwelled here. Now the drought has transformed this kingdom, draining the lifeblood from the land and reducing it to a vast, shimmering expanse of dust and silence. Here survival is a daily contest. Cheetahs move with ghost-like precision, their bodies low to the ground, eyes fixed on the faintest flicker of movement. Lions, regal and powerful, launch into pursuit, their muscles rippling beneath tawny coats as they chase down the fleeting hope of a meal. But now, the ancient dance of predator and prey is overshadowed by a more urgent struggle. Herds gather at the last vestiges of water, their bodies pressed together in uneasy truce, driven by a thirst that unites even the fiercest rivals. Waterholes, once vibrant with life, are reduced to barren bowls of cracked mud. The promise of relief has vanished, replaced by the ghostly outlines of footprints and the memory of abundance. The grasses, once emerald and lush, now stand as brittle sentinels, yellowed, hollow and devoid of nourishment. Antelope graze with desperate urgency, their ribs visible beneath thinning hides, each mouthful a battle against starvation. Across the plains, animals stagger beneath the weight of the sun. Each step is measured, each breath laboured, as the heat presses down with unyielding force. The weak falter and the strong are tested to their limits. The savanna is cloaked in a shimmering haze, the horizon wavering in the distance. Silence dominates, broken only by the faint rustle of dry grass or the distant call of a desperate animal. Birdsong, once a chorus at dawn, is now a rare and mournful sound. The air carries the rasping cries of those who have succumbed to thirst, their wings stilled by the merciless drought. The great herds, elephants, buffalo, move in solemn procession, their migration routes twisted and lengthened in search of water. Each step is a gamble, each decision a matter of life or death for the herd. Their massive feet churn the fragile earth, sending plumes of dust swirling into the air. The dust clings to their hides, coats and tusks, a constant reminder of the hardship they endure. Every surface is veiled in a fine layer of dust, leaves, fur, even the wind itself carries the taste of drought. The landscape is muted, its colours dulled by the ever-present powder. In this crucible, only the most resilient endure. Faces etched with determination, eyes sharp with vigilance. The animals of the savanna press on, driven by instinct and the will to survive. At the heart of each group stands a leader, a matriarch elephant, wise and resolute, or a lioness, her gaze fixed on the horizon. Their leadership is tested as never before, every decision weighed against the survival of their kin. These are the queens of the savanna, guardians of ancient bloodlines. Their strength is measured not just in muscle, but in wisdom, patience, and the ability to adapt. They shield the young from danger, guiding them through perilous terrain, teaching them the secrets of survival in a world where every day brings new challenges. Lionesses move with silent authority, their bodies blending with the tall grass as they scan for both prey and threat. Each movement is calculated, each decision vital. In the shadows, leopards glide unseen, their spotted coats dappled by the shifting light. Masters of stealth, they navigate the shrinking boundaries of their territories, ever alert to opportunity and danger. As the drought tightens its grip, territories contract. Predators and prey alike are forced into uneasy proximity, their ancient boundaries blurred by necessity. Prey animals grow scarce, their numbers thinned by hunger and thirst. Predators scan the empty plains, their senses sharpened by desperation, every hunt a test of skill and endurance. Competition intensifies. Rivals, lions, hyenas, wild dogs, circle each other with wary eyes, their encounters charged with tension, as each seeks to claim what little remains. Every glance, every pause is laden with meaning. The savanna is a chessboard, and each move could tip the balance between life and death. Yet, amid adversity, there is pride and resolve. The matriarch leads with unwavering purpose. The lioness stands tall, her spirit unbroken by the harshness of her world. The savanna is a stage for drama, battles fought, losses mourned, victories hard won. Each moment is a testament to the resilience and adaptability of its inhabitants. Among them, Wame, the wild dog alpha, leads her pack with relentless energy, orchestrating complex hunts across the parched earth, her calls echoing through the stillness. Rival lioness queens, Tsebi and Thata, maneuver for dominance, their alliances and rivalries shaping the fate of their prides. Mochidi and Phefo, solitary leopards, prowl the margins. Masters of patience, their solitary journeys a study in stealth and survival. Kutlo, the outcast hyena, navigates a world of shifting alliances, scavenging and surviving on the fringes, ever watchful for opportunity or threat. Each life is a thread in the intricate tapestry of the savanna, their paths crossing and diverging, their fates bound to the rhythm of the land. In this kingdom of dust, every interaction, be it a gentle nudge between mother and calf, a wary glance between rivals, or the silent determination of a lone hunter, reveals the profound complexity of life. Here, the drama of family, the power of leadership, and the indomitable will to survive are written in every footprint, every breath, and every heartbeat of the wild. Wame, the wild dog alpha, is the heartbeat of her pack, a figure of discipline, intuition, and resolve. Her every movement is watched and mirrored by her followers, who rely on her for guidance through the ever-shifting tapestry of the savanna. The den, cleverly concealed in a thicket of tall grass, is alive with the yips and tumbles of her pups, each one a testament to her vigilance and the pack's unity. But the savanna is a realm of extremes, and the drought is merciless, stripping the land of its lifeblood and testing every creature's endurance. A herd of elephants, driven by desperation, moves with single-minded purpose, their trunks probing the dust for any hint of moisture. In their relentless search, they crush the den, their massive feet indifferent to the fragile lives hidden below, scattering the wild dog family in a heartbeat. Forced from shelter, the pack becomes nomadic, their movements dictated by the rhythms of survival and the invisible boundaries of rival predators. Wame's instincts sharpen. She corrals her pups, her body language urgent, ears flicking at every sound, nose testing the wind for threats or hope. She leads them toward a waterhole, a place etched into the memory of generations, where the scent of past rains lingers faintly in the dust. The journey is grueling, each paw sinks into hot, powdery earth, and the horizon shimmers with the illusion of relief. The pups falter, their tongues lolling, their pace slowing as the sun presses down, relentless and uncaring. When they reach the waterhole, anticipation turns to heartbreak. The ground is barren, the promise of water broken. The earth is split and cracked, a mosaic of thirst, marked by the footprints of countless animals who came before and left empty. The pack circles the hollow, noses low, searching for even a trace of dampness. But there is nothing. Wame stands apart, her posture drooping, the weight of failure pressing down as heavily as the heat. The pack's body language shifts, tails lower, eyes avert, a subtle but unmistakable erosion of trust. They huddle in the scant shade, tension rippling through the group, each member acutely aware of their vulnerability. In the tall grass, hyenas watch, their senses attuned to the subtle cues of weakness and opportunity. The hyena matriarch signals her clan, their movements coordinated, silent, exploiting the wild dog's moment of despair. The ambush is swift, snarls and dust erupt as the hyenas surge forward, targeting the weakest and sowing chaos. The wild dogs scatter, their formation broken, each animal acting on instinct, the pack's cohesion unraveling in the melee. In the aftermath, the pack's frustration boils over. Dominance rituals flare, and Wame becomes the focus of their discontent. She is forced into submission, her authority challenged in a display of teeth and posture, the social order violently reaffirmed. Isolated, Wame lies apart, her body curled defensively, ears flicking at the distant calls of her own kind. The savanna offers no comfort, only the endless expanse of dust and the distant silhouettes of scavengers. But adversity is the crucible of leadership. Wame's resolve hardens. Her eyes scan the horizon, searching for any sign of hope. She rises, her movements deliberate, signaling her intent to those who still watch her from the shadows. Gathering the scattered pack, she initiates a new journey, her body language confident, her calls sharp and commanding. They set out toward the north, where the floodplains shimmer faintly in the distance, a promise whispered on the wind and carried in the memory of old trails. The trek is perilous. Territorial boundaries must be navigated, the scent marks of lions and leopards avoided, and every step calculated for safety and efficiency. At last, after days of relentless travel, the scent of water grows stronger, and the pack's pace quickens, hope rekindled. They find a channel, its surface shimmering, surrounded by the tracks of antelope and the distant calls of birds, life returning to the land. Wame drinks deeply, her strength returning, and the pack gathers around her, their faith in her leadership restored by her perseverance. The pups play at the water's edge, their energy renewed, the pack's bonds reforged in the cool shade of survival. Wame stands tall once more, her leadership earned not by dominance, but by resilience, wisdom, and the unbreakable spirit of the wild. Beneath the relentless African sun, the lioness Tsebe moves with a quiet urgency, her senses sharpened by the weight of new life stirring within her. Instinct pulses through her veins. She is heavy with cubs, and every step is a calculated risk. The dry grass whispers danger, but her only focus is the fragile future she carries. Guided by primal wisdom, Tsebe makes a painful choice. She parts from her sister, Thata, the formidable matriarch of the southern pride, knowing that solitude is the safest path for her unborn young. Alone, she seeks out a hidden hollow, shrouded by thorny brush. There, in the hush of the wild, she brings forth 3 cubs, 2 sons and a daughter, each one blind, helpless, and utterly dependent on her. The cubs' father, a regal male, lingers at the edge of their world, yet his presence is fleeting, his mind restless, drawn by distant scents and the promise of rival challenges. The laws of the savanna offer no guarantees. Hunger gnaws at Tsebe, forcing her to leave the den and stalk the brittle grass for prey. Her heart pounds with every step away, knowing her cubs are exposed, their tiny bodies trembling in the silence. In her absence, the wind shifts. Her mate's brother, an imposing figure, draws near, his amber eyes cold with intent. In the wild, a rival male's arrival spells mortal peril for the young, for only his own bloodline matters. But Tsebe's instincts are unerring. She returns in time, her body tense, her gaze fierce. The trust she once placed in her mate dissolves. She alone must shield her cubs from the ever-present threat of the wild. With the dawn, she makes a fateful decision. Gently, she lifts her cubs one by one, their tiny forms dangling from her jaws, and sets out across the open plains, her every sense tuned to danger. The journey is a gauntlet of hazards. The cubs stumble through the searing heat, their small bodies dwarfed by the endless grass. Vultures circle above, jackals lurk in the shadows, and the sun beats down without mercy. Day after day, Tsebe presses on. When her cubs falter, she carries them, her own hunger and thirst forgotten. The rhythm of survival is relentless, but her resolve is unbreakable. At last, her perseverance is rewarded. In a patch of golden grass, she finds Thata, her sister, her ally, now a mother herself. Their reunion is wordless but profound, a silent pact forged by blood and instinct. The sisters unite, their 5 cubs tumbling together beneath the acacia's sparse shade. Together they are stronger, a coalition shaped by necessity and the wild's unforgiving code. The Pride moves north, drawn by the promise of water and prey. Their first hunt as a family is swift and fierce. A warthog falls and the cubs taste fresh meat, their future written in every bite. In the golden light, the Pride stands united. From the courage of 2 sisters, a new dynasty rises, resilient, wild and woven into the very heart of the Savanna. While her sister Tsibe seeks new territory in the north, Thata remains in the parched southern reaches, reigning over a land shaped by relentless drought and fierce competition. Her pride is fragmented, its unity tested by scarcity and internal strife. Among its members are adolescent males, their bodies lean and restless, their instincts still unrefined. These young lions, brimming with untamed energy, lack the discipline and coordination needed to thrive in such a harsh environment. Their inexperience makes them a burden, consuming precious food and stirring conflict over every scrap. Thata, ever vigilant, understands that the future of her lineage depends on transforming these unruly males into skilled hunters and steadfast allies. She takes on the role of mentor, guiding them through the intricacies of survival, each lesson a test of patience and resolve. Through grooming, gentle nudges, and stern corrections, she forges bonds and imparts the knowledge of generations. The first challenge is the hunt, a lesson in silence, patience, and timing. Thata leads the Pride in pursuit of a warthog, a wary and nimble adversary, well adapted to the open plains. The warthog, alert to every movement, tests the lion's ability to remain unseen. Thata demonstrates the art of the stalk, her body pressed low, muscles rippling beneath her tawny coat. She weaves through brittle grass and thorny shrubs, using every shadow and contour of the land for concealment. The adolescent males, usually noisy and impulsive, now watch in tense silence, absorbing every movement. Their bodies are coiled, eyes fixed, the air thick with anticipation. Thata signals with a flick of her tail, teaching them the subtle cues that coordinate a Pride's attack. The hunt ends in success, the Pride feasting together, their hunger momentarily sated. But the Savanna offers no respite. Danger is ever present. The scent of blood draws a rival clan of hyenas, their calls echoing across the plains. The confrontation is swift and brutal. Snarls, lunges, and the clash of teeth and claws. Hyenas, emboldened by numbers and hunger, surge forward, seeking to overwhelm the Pride. The adolescent males face their greatest trial. Will they defend their kin or flee? In the past, fear would have scattered them, each lion for himself. Now, emboldened by Thata's unwavering presence, they rally together. The Pride forms a defensive wall, fangs bared, bodies pressed shoulder to shoulder. The young males roar and charge, their unity amplifying their strength. For the first time, they move as one, each action reinforcing the other, each lion defending not just himself, but the Pride. They encircle Thata, instinctively protecting their matriarch and each other. The hyenas are repelled, and the Pride claims its hard-won meal, the bonds of kinship strengthened by adversity. Thata's approving gaze lingers on the young males, their transformation evident in their newfound confidence. As the dry season wanes, the sky darkens and the first rains sweep across the plains, breathing life into the land. With the rains come vast herds of buffalo, their hooves churning the rejuvenated earth, their numbers a promise of abundance and peril. The buffalo, massive and vigilant, graze in tight formation, their calves shielded by a wall of muscle and horns. To hunt them is to risk everything, for a single misstep can mean injury or death. Thata senses her Pride is ready for this ultimate test. She orchestrates a hunt with precision, each lion moving in harmony, every tactic honed by hardship. The Pride fans out, exploiting the terrain, their movements a silent language of cooperation. Thata draws the attention of the adult buffalo, her presence a calculated risk to create an opening. The buffalo respond, forming a living barricade, their bodies braced for defense. Meanwhile, the young males circle wide, exploiting a momentary lapse in the herd's formation. In a burst of speed and coordination, they isolate a calf, bringing it down with a flurry of claws and teeth. The Pride feasts, the air thick with the scent of fresh kill and the low rumble of contented growls. Thata's vision is realized. Through adversity, discipline, and the raw realities of the wild, she has shaped a fractured group into a formidable dynasty, one that will endure as long as the rains return and the Savanna endures. In the golden hush of dawn, Mochidi, the leopardess, moves alone through the brittle grass. Her paws barely disturb the dust, yet every step is heavy with the weight of exile. Leopards are solitary by nature, but now Mochidi's solitude is absolute. Her only companions are the shadows and the distant calls of birds. The drought has sharpened every rivalry. Waterholes shrink, prey grows scarce, and the Savanna's silence is broken by the violence of territorial battles. Mochidi's defeat was swift and brutal. Driven from her forested refuge by a dominant female defending her cubs, she is forced into the open, sun-scorched plains. Now she prowls a landscape she does not know. The air is dry, the ground cracked, and every scent on the wind is unfamiliar. Each bush could hide a rival, each tree a threat. The Savanna is not welcoming to strangers. Exhaustion drapes over her like a second pelt. The urge to carve out her own territory, to begin a lineage, is fierce. But her body is weakened, her mind clouded by uncertainty. She is a queen without a realm, a ruler with no subjects. The vastness of the Savanna stretches before her, indifferent to her struggle. Hunger gnaws at her belly. The first law of survival is simple: eat or perish. But the prey here are wary, adapted to the open plains and the ever-watchful eyes of predators. Her old hunting grounds were shaded and dense, perfect for ambush. Here the grass is sparse, the cover thin. Her usual tactics fail her, and every failed hunt saps her strength further. The animals she once stalked are gone. In their place, new prey graze, fleet-footed antelope, sharp-eyed birds, all attuned to the dangers of the open. Her first attempts are awkward, her timing off. The impalas scatter before she can close the distance, and the birds take flight at the slightest rustle. Days pass. Hunger becomes a constant ache, dulling her senses and eroding her confidence. The sun beats down, relentless, and the nights bring only the cold comfort of isolation. At last, she snatches a small bird, barely a mouthful, but enough to keep her moving. The Savanna offers no mercy, only fleeting chances. One evening, a powerful male crosses her path. His coat gleams, his muscles ripple with health. Mochidi approaches, hopeful, but he turns away, uninterested in a mate so clearly diminished. She watches him vanish into the dusk, her pride stung. In the wild, strength is the only currency, and she has little to offer. From a distance, she studies him, his confidence, his command of the land, She knows she must become his equal or remain alone. The sting of rejection becomes fuel. Mochidi's resolve hardens. She will not fade into obscurity. She is not a creature to be pitied. She is a predator, forged by adversity. With each passing day, her movements grow more confident. She learns the rhythms of the new land, the paths of the herds, the hiding places of the hares, the subtle shifts in the wind. She stalks with renewed purpose, her body low, her eyes sharp. The Savanna is no longer an enemy, but a puzzle to be solved. She climbs trees to scout for prey, using the vantage to map her new domain. Each success, no matter how small, rebuilds her spirit. Mochidi hones her skills, practicing silent approaches and patient waits. She learns to read the body language of antelope, to anticipate their sudden bursts of speed. She becomes a shadow in the grass, invisible until the moment she strikes. At last, her patience is rewarded. She brings down a full-grown impala, her claws finding purchase, her jaws closing with precision. The kill is swift, the victory hard won. As she feeds, the strength returns to her limbs. She grooms herself, licking away the dust and blood, reclaiming her dignity with every stroke. Across the plains, eyes watch her. Hyenas, jackals, even the vultures circling above. Among them, the male leopard catches her scent, his curiosity piqued by her newfound confidence. The wind carries the story of her triumph. The Savanna, ever alert, takes note of the queen's return. The male approaches, drawn by the scent of fresh meat and the aura of strength. He moves with caution, no longer dismissive. He sees not a desperate exile, but a formidable rival, perhaps even a worthy partner. Mochidi stands tall, her gaze unwavering. The male approaches with respect, recognizing her claim to this patch of wild earth. Their meeting is cautious, a delicate dance of power and possibility. No growls, no threats, only mutual recognition. Mochidi, once a lonely queen, now sits in regal silence. She has earned her place, not through force, but through resilience and adaptation. Side by side, the two leopards begin the ancient ritual of courtship. The promise of a dynasty is no longer a distant dream, but a living possibility. As the sun rises over the Savanna, Mochidi's exile ends. In its place, a new reign begins, one shaped by the trials of the wild and the indomitable spirit of the lonely queen. For the leopardess Phefo, every moment is a test of vigilance, a relentless, silent promise to her young. She is the sole guardian of two fragile cubs, a son and a daughter, whose lives depend entirely on her instincts and resolve. Yet the Savanna is vast and unforgiving, and a mother cannot split herself between the shadows and the sun. While she slips away to hunt beneath the searing sky, her den, concealed among rocks and dry grass, becomes vulnerable to the ever-watchful eyes of rivals. A troop of baboons, notorious for their cunning and aggression, stumbles upon the scent of her hidden offspring. The baboons, emboldened by their numbers, surge forward, forcing her daughter to scramble up the brittle limbs of a dead tree, her tiny form trembling above the chaos. Alone, the cub clings to the bark, her world reduced to the hostile chatter below and the dizzying height above. Phefo, returning with the scent of blood and dust on her fur, senses the panic before she sees it, her vow to protect now a desperate ache in her chest. Her ears catch the shrill cries of her cub, and her eyes lock onto the writhing mass of baboons encircling the tree. Instinct surges, her muscles coil, her teeth bare, every fibre of her being ready to unleash fury for her child. But the odds are merciless. The troop outnumbers her, each baboon a threat with gnashing teeth and grasping hands. To attack would be to gamble both her life and the future of her son, who waits, hidden and unaware, elsewhere in the grass. Powerless, she crouches in the shadows, every muscle taut, her heart pounding with the agony of inaction. The standoff stretches, the air thick with tension, as predator and prey alike hold their breath beneath the relentless sun. At last the baboons lose interest, melting away into the grass, leaving the cub quivering but miraculously untouched. Phefo finds her son, hidden and safe, and gathers both cubs close, her vow renewed in the warmth of their reunion. The drought persists, the earth split and thirsty, each day a gauntlet of hunger and heat. Prey is scarce, forcing her to journey for miles beneath the merciless sky, leaving her cubs hidden in brittle grass, exposed to unseen dangers. After hours of silent stalking, she brings down a vervet monkey, her breath ragged with exhaustion and relief. She knows her own strength is vital, but her cub's hunger is the greater call. With unwavering determination, she drags the kill back to the den, muscles burning, senses alert for lurking scavengers. She watches, gaunt and weary, as her cubs tear into the meal, their survival her only reward. Even as they gnaw the last sinews from bone, she waits, hunger gnawing at her, but her vow remains unbroken. Her sacrifice is silent, her love measured in empty bellies and sleepless nights beneath the stars. When the rains finally break, the land erupts in green, a fleeting reprieve for all who call the Savanna home. Herds return, the air alive with the scent and sound of prey and the promise of easier days. Phefo's patience and skill yield a bounty, an impala, its flesh nourishing her family, her vow fulfilled in every bite. But the feast draws hyenas, their laughter echoing through the trees, their hunger as sharp as her own. Phefo weighs her options, every sense attuned to the threat below, her mind as agile as her body. With practiced strength, she hauls the carcass into the branches, outwitting the scavengers with a feat of feline prowess. She waits, silent and still, as the hyenas circle and snarl, her patience a shield for her cubs. In the end, her cunning prevails. Her cubs feed in safety, their future secured by the vow she renews with every dawn and every dusk beneath the wild, indifferent sky. In the intricate social web of the hyena clan, hierarchy is everything. At its lowest rung stands Kutlo, a figure defined by his insignificance. He is a runt, overshadowed by dominant females, his presence barely acknowledged except as a target for aggression. Each day, Kutlo endures relentless harassment, his hunger gnawing as persistently as the clan's disdain. At every communal feast, he lingers at the periphery, forced to scavenge the remnants after the matriarchs and their favoured kin have stripped the bones clean. Though he is part of the clan's formidable hunting force, Kutlo reaps none of the rewards, his role reduced to that of a shadow. The weight of exclusion and the ache of starvation finally drive him to a desperate crossroads. In a bold act of defiance, Kutlo abandons the safety of the clan, stepping into the vast, perilous savanna alone. The solitary life of a hyena is fraught with danger. The open plains offer little mercy to those without allies. Hyenas are masters of coordinated assault, their strength lying in numbers, overpowering prey and defending kills from formidable rivals like lions. Alone, Kutlo's attempts at hunting are met with swift failure. The savanna's prey are swift, wary, and unforgiving. His chases are awkward, his efforts easily outmatched by the agility of antelope and the brute force required for larger quarry. He lacks the power to bring down the strong and the speed to outpace the nimble. The freedom he sought now threatens to consume him, as hunger sharpens into desperation. Isolated and famished, Kutlo becomes a spectre on the savanna, an outcast with neither kin nor sustenance. Yet adversity breeds innovation. Driven by necessity, Kutlo's mind sharpens, seeking new paths to survival. If he cannot hunt alone and cannot claim a place at the clan's table, he must exploit the chaos of the savanna itself. Kutlo adopts the strategy of the opportunist, becoming a thief in the shadows of his former clan. He studies their routines, learning when vigilance lapses and chaos reigns. His first foray is a disaster. His presence detected, he is driven off with nothing but bruises and humiliation. In the frenzy, he manages to snatch a meagre scrap, only to be relentlessly pursued by his former clanmates. Opportunistic jackals descend, their shrill calls summoning further chaos and robbing Kutlo of his hard-won morsel. He retreats, empty-jawed, his every move now watched with suspicion by the clan's enforcers. But the wild does not reward the faint-hearted. Kutlo's resolve only hardens. He hones his tactics, learning to blend with the tall grass, to move with the rhythm of confusion. His moment arrives when the clan collides with Wame's wild dog pack, a violent contest over a fresh kill. Amid the chaos, snarls, dust, and flashing teeth, Kutlo's patience is rewarded. While the dominant hyenas and wild dogs are locked in battle, he slips through the melee, unseen. With swift precision, He seizes a generous portion of the carcass and melts into the undergrowth, the spoils his alone. For the first time, Outlaw tastes the fruits of his cunning, a small but vital triumph in the unforgiving theatre of the Savanna. In a world governed by strength and numbers, Outlaw, the outlaw, survives by wit alone, a solitary strategist thriving against the odds. In the northern reaches of Botswana's wild savanna, Tsebe and her sister have forged a new beginning. Their pride, once fractured by hardship, now pulses with renewed life. The two lionesses move in seamless coordination, their bodies weaving through the grass as they shepherd their 5 cubs. Each morning, the cubs greet the day with playful wrestling, their tiny roars echoing across the dew-laden plains. The lionesses nurture them with gentle licks and soft chuffs, reinforcing bonds that are vital for survival. Yet the savanna is never still. The air grows heavy as storm clouds gather, and the pride senses a shift in the wind, a warning that their tranquil days may soon be tested. On the horizon, a lone male lion emerges, his mane tousled by the wind. His gait is measured, each step deliberate as he draws closer to the pride's territory. The cubs freeze, curiosity mingling with caution. The lionesses rise, muscles tensed, forming a living barrier between their young and the approaching male. It is the father of Tsebe's cubs, the same male whose absence once left the pride vulnerable. His return is met with wary eyes and low, rumbling growls. The lioness's ears flatten, their bodies angled defensively, every instinct alert to the possibility of threat. Tsebe's memory is long. She recalls the peril that followed his abandonment, the nights spent listening for hyenas, the days spent hunting alone. Her vigilance is unwavering. Her sister mirrors her caution, the two lionesses exchanging silent signals. Every movement is calculated, every glance a message. But as Tsebe studies him, she notices a subtle transformation. The male's posture is subdued, his approach respectful. The reckless energy of youth has faded. In its place is a calm, measured presence, a lion shaped by hardship and solitude. The drought has left its mark. Scarcity has taught him the value of unity, the cost of isolation. His body bears the story of survival etched in every scar. He makes no move to assert dominance. Instead, he sits apart, his gaze steady but unthreatening, a silent plea for acceptance, a recognition of past mistakes. In the wild, a pride's strength is measured by its unity. A powerful male can mean the difference between safety and peril, between a future secured and one lost to rivals. The decision is not made lightly. Chibi weighs the risks, her mind turning over memories of loss and the promise of protection. She must balance her distrust with the hope that his presence could fortify their family, offering strength where before there was only vulnerability. A strong male is a shield against the ever-present dangers of the savanna, rival lions seeking to claim territory, hyena clans prowling for weakness. Together, they could hunt larger prey, their combined power ensuring the cubs are nourished and the pride's future secured. For days, Tsebe observes, she notes the male's restraint, the way he avoids confrontation, his patience with the cub's curious stares. At last, she makes her choice. With a low, rumbling call, she signals her acceptance. The male responds with a gentle chuff, a soundless promise to protect. The pride moves forward, now united. Their steps are synchronized, their purpose clear, a new alliance forged in the wild's crucible. The male is slowly welcomed back, his presence no longer a threat but a source of strength. The cubs, emboldened by their mother's acceptance, inch closer, curiosity overcoming fear. The pride settles into a new rhythm. Grooming sessions become communal, the cubs darting between adults, the air filled with contented purrs and the soft rustle of grass. The pride is whole once more, their unity a living testament to resilience and adaptation. With 2 vigilant lionesses, 5 thriving cubs, and a seasoned male protector, their domain in the north is secure. The Pride's presence is felt across the grasslands, their roars echoing at dusk and dawn. They move as one, hunting, resting, defending. Their unity is their strength, their survival a testament to the bonds that tie them together. Tsebe, once alone and uncertain, now leads with quiet authority. Her journey from isolation to leadership is written in every confident stride, every decision made for the Pride's future. Through perseverance and instinct, she has not only safeguarded her cubs, but has built a dynasty, an enduring kingdom where the next generation can flourish, governed by the combined wisdom and strength of a united Pride. After months of relentless hardship, the Savanna lies silent, its golden grass is brittle, its rivers mere scars in the earth. But then a subtle shift stirs the air. Dark, brooding clouds assemble above the horizon, their bellies swollen with long-awaited promise. The sky, once a pale, merciless dome, now churns with anticipation. Thunder rolls across the plains, its deep voice awakening the land. Lightning forks in the distance, illuminating the silhouettes of acacia trees and the watchful eyes of hidden creatures. The first raindrops descend, tentative and precious, each one a tiny drumbeat on the thirsty soil. As they strike the cracked earth, a fragrant mist rises, the scent of petrichor, a signal to every living thing that the world is about to change. The rain intensifies, drumming on withered leaves, pooling in hoofprints and seeping into the roots of ancient trees. Dust becomes mud, and the air vibrates with the energy of renewal. The drought's iron grip shatters. The savanna exhales, its colors deepening as the land drinks greedily. Almost overnight, emerald shoots pierce the mud, weaving a tapestry of green across the plains. Each blade of grass is a victory, each sprout a declaration of survival. Riverbeds, once silent and fractured, pulse with new life as muddy torrents carve fresh paths, carrying the promise of sustenance to every corner of the kingdom. Waterholes swell, their surfaces shimmering mirrors that beckon the thirsty. The air fills with the calls of returning life. Grass unfurls in thick carpets, softening the ground for the first tentative steps of newborns and the heavy tread of giants. Wildebeest and zebra, drawn by the scent of rain and the glint of water, return in swirling columns, their hooves drumming a rhythm of hope. Buffalo, antelope, and zebra gather in vast congregations, their coats slick with rain, their eyes bright with the thrill of abundance. Predators emerge from the shadows, lions crouched in the tall grass, wild dogs weaving through the green, each one attuned to the pulse of the renewed land. Elephant matriarchs trumpet in triumph, leading their calves to splash and wallow in the cool, muddy pools, their joy echoing across the plains. Wame's wild dog pack, lean and fierce, races through the emerald grass, their unity forged in hardship, now a source of strength as they chase the scent of opportunity. Thata's southern pride, muscles rippling beneath golden pelts, orchestrates hunts with silent precision, their cubs learning the ancient dance of predator and prey. In the north, Tsebe's cubs tumble in the grass, their bellies round, their future secure beneath their mother's vigilant gaze. Phefo, the leopardess, once gaunt and wary, now stretches languidly on a branch, her cubs feasting below, the shadows no longer a place of fear, but of plenty. Mutshidi, once a solitary wanderer, stands tall beside her chosen mate, her territory lush and her legacy assured. The savanna thrums with life, herds ripple across the grasslands, birds wheel in the sky, and insects sing in the humid air. Every creature, from the smallest dung beetle to the towering giraffe, plays its part in this grand revival. Scars and weathered hides tell stories of survival. Each animal bears the memory of drought, their resilience etched in every line and glance. Matriarchs lead their young through the emerald maze, teaching them the secrets of water, the language of the wind, and the wisdom of patience. Within every family, bonds are tested and strengthened. Mothers shield their young, siblings share food, and elders guide with silent authority. The rain is more than water. It is a chorus of celebration, trumpets, roars, and bleats rising in gratitude for the gift of renewal. In the golden light, the Savanna glows, a living kingdom, its tapestry woven from struggle and triumph, unity and wild, unbreakable spirit. Here in Botswana's heart, life endures and the kingdom is truly renewed. As the rains recede and the Savanna's emerald flush matures, a new rhythm emerges, a delicate equilibrium, forged in the crucible of competition and cooperation. The land, though teeming with life, is far from gentle. Each dawn brings its own trials, and every heartbeat is a wager in the great game of survival. Beneath the tangled canopies of acacia and marula, herds of impala gather, their ears flicking at the faintest rustle. Oxpeckers flit from back to back, plucking parasites from tough hides, their shrill calls a constant chorus. Nearby, a troop of baboons forages with calculated precision, their matriarch directing the young toward the ripest figs, while sentinels keep wary eyes on the grass's shifting shadows. At the water's edge, a crocodile lies motionless, half submerged, its patience a weapon honed by countless seasons. Wildebeest calves venture close, drawn by the cool water, and their mothers shepherd them away from danger with gentle nudges. The air is thick with tension. Every movement, every scent, every sound, a message in the ancient language of survival. Hyenas, opportunists by nature, skulk at the fringes of a recent lion kill. They test the pride's resolve, inching closer with cackling bravado until a lioness's snarl sends them scattering. But persistence yields reward. When the lions' bellies are full and their vigilance wanes, the scavengers move in, stripping bone from sinew and returning nutrients to the cycle. A thunderhead builds in the distance, promising storms, but bringing with it a new challenge, sudden, fierce wildfires. Lightning ignites the parched grass and flames race across the plain, sending antelope and predators alike fleeing before the oncoming wall of heat. In the aftermath, the ash fertilizes the ground, and green shoots soon burst forth, nature's paradox, destruction birthing abundance. Elsewhere, a pangolin, armored and secretive, emerges beneath the moonlight to feast on termites. Its presence goes unnoticed by all but the keen-eyed honey badger, who follows the scent trail in hopes of an easy meal. The encounter is brief, a flurry of scales and claws, and the pangolin retreats unharmed into its burrow. In the cool hours before dawn, a pair of cheetah brothers stalk a dazzle of zebra. Their approach is silent, calculated, a ballet of muscle and instinct. When they strike, the chase is explosive, but the zebra's vigilance and the maze of tall grass tip the balance, and the cheetahs are left panting in defeat. Hunger sharpens their resolve. Tomorrow, they will try again. Through it all, the delicate balance of the ecosystem endures. Predators test prey, scavengers clean the bones, and the smallest creatures, termites, dung beetles, ants, engineer the very soil that sustains the plains. Every species, every interaction is a thread in the living tapestry. As the sun sets, painting the sky in hues of amber and violet, the savanna breathes, scarred, resilient, and ever-changing. Here there are no guarantees, only the unending dance of survival, where every creature shapes the fate of the kingdom, and every day is both a struggle and a triumph. As twilight deepens and the savanna's golden haze melts into indigo, a hush settles over the land. The air grows heavy with anticipation, as if every creature senses that something extraordinary is about to unfold. Tonight, the moon will rise full and bright, casting a silver glow that transforms the plain into a realm of shifting shadows and glimmering secrets. Drawn by the promise of safety in numbers and the allure of a rare botanical bloom, hundreds of animals converge upon a single ancient baobab tree, a sentinel that has witnessed generations come and go. Its gnarled branches cradle clusters of night-blooming flowers, releasing a fragrance that carries for miles on the cooling breeze. First to arrive are the elephants, matriarchs leading their families with deliberate steps. They circle the tree, trunks raised to savor the sweet aroma, and gently pluck blossoms from the lower branches. Calves, emboldened by the presence of their elders, tussle playfully beneath the canopy, their trumpets muffled by the thick night air. Soon a procession of giraffes materializes from the darkness, their silhouettes elongated and spectral in the moonlight. With graceful necks extended, they reach heights untouched by elephant or antelope, delicately nibbling at the highest blooms. A soft chorus of crunching and chewing fills the night, punctuated by the occasional snort or low hum. From the periphery, a family of bush pigs creeps forward, snuffling through fallen petals and discarded fruit. Their keen noses root out hidden grubs and seeds, adding their own rhythm to the nocturnal feast. Above, a parliament of owls perches silently, eyes reflecting the moon's glow as they scan for scurrying rodents drawn by the commotion. Predators, too, are drawn to the gathering. A solitary leopard, its coat dappled with moonlight, slinks through the tall grass, careful to remain unseen. It waits, patient and poised, for the chance to seize an unwary visitor. Yet tonight, the abundance of prey and the collective vigilance of the assembled herds make opportunity scarce. As the hours pass, the baobab becomes a living beacon, a place where the boundaries between species blur, if only for a night. Wildebeest and zebra mingle at the tree's base, their usual wariness eased by the shared need for nourishment and safety. Even a pride of lions, sated from an earlier hunt, lounges at a respectful distance, content to observe rather than disrupt. With the approach of dawn, the gathering begins to disperse. The elephants move off in stately silence, giraffes vanish into the pale morning mist, and the smaller creatures retreat to burrows and thickets. The baobab stands alone once more, its flowers stripped but its legacy renewed, a silent testament to the rare and fragile peace that can bloom in the heart of the wild. On this night, the savanna's endless struggle pauses, replaced by a fleeting harmony. Every creature, great and small, leaves its mark on the ancient earth, and for a few precious hours the kingdom pulses as one beneath the watchful gaze of the moon. As the first rays of dawn pierce the lingering mist, a tremor of unrest stirs across the savanna. The peace of the great gathering fades like a half-remembered dream, replaced by the raw pulse of change. It begins as a distant rumble, barely perceptible, yet enough to send a ripple through the herds. The ground itself seems to tense, as if bracing for what is to come. From the northern horizon, a line of migrating buffalo surges forward, their numbers swollen beyond memory. Driven by thirst and hunger, they press into territories long held by others, churning dust into the morning air. The resident wildebeests scatter at their approach, forced to relinquish grazing grounds they have claimed for generations. Tensions flare. A clash of horns, the thunder of hooves, the desperate cries of calves separated from their mothers. Predators sense the upheaval. A coalition of cheetahs, lean and restless, slinks through the yellowed grass, eyes fixed on the vulnerable edges of the shifting herds. Meanwhile, hyenas gather in unexpected numbers, their laughter echoing with new confidence as they exploit the chaos, darting between the legs of the mighty and the meek alike. High above, the sky fills with circling vultures and kites, each one drawn by the promise of opportunity in turmoil. Even the smaller denizens, meerkats, hares and mongoose, alter their routines, darting between burrows and thorny shelters, acutely aware that the old patterns have been broken. The baobab, so recently a sanctuary, now stands as a silent witness to the unrest. Its roots grip the earth as the land's equilibrium teeters. The air is thick with the scent of trampled grass and unsettled dust, the songs of birds giving way to uneasy silence. In the days that follow, the savanna's tapestry is rewoven. Some thrive in the new order, others fade into memory. The balance, once so carefully maintained, has been upended, and every creature must find its place within the shifting mosaic. The breaking of the silence marks not an end, but a reckoning, a reminder that in this wild kingdom harmony is as fleeting as the morning mist. Night falls heavy on the savanna, but tonight the darkness is not absolute. A faint glow pulses along the horizon, first amber, then molten gold, casting strange, flickering shadows across the grasslands. It is the arrival of the firestorm, a rare, awe-inspiring phenomenon born from weeks of parched winds and sun-baked earth. Lightning, silent and distant, forks across the sky, igniting brittle clusters of elephant grass. Flames leap skyward, twisting and dancing in the restless wind, their light transforming the familiar landscape into a realm of living fire. At once, the Savanna's inhabitants are galvanized into action. Herds of zebra and impala move as one, their hooves drumming an urgent rhythm as they flee the advancing blaze. Elephants trumpet warnings, forming protective rings around their calves, their massive feet churning up dust to dampen smoldering embers. Giraffes, towering and vigilant, scan the glowing line, their heads above the smoke searching for safe passage. Predators, too, feel the primal call of survival. Lions abandon their lairs, moving with uncharacteristic haste, while leopards slip silently through the undergrowth, their golden eyes reflecting the fire's fury. Even the nocturnal hunters, the owls and genets, are driven from their routines, gliding low and fast toward patches of unburned ground. Beneath the surface, smaller creatures enact their ancient strategies. Tortoises retreat deep into their shells, burrowing under cool soil. Termites seal their mounds, the clay walls insulating their precious colonies from the heat. In the trees, colonies of weaver birds cling to their woven nests, waiting out the inferno in the highest branches. As the fire races onward, it consumes the old and the withered, leaving behind a blackened tapestry. But in its wake, a miracle unfolds. Within days, the first green shoots pierce the ash, drawn by the nutrients left behind. Wildebeest and gazelle tentatively return, grazing on the tender new grass. The air, once thick with smoke, clears to reveal skies washed clean by rain. The cycle of destruction and renewal is complete. Fire, fearsome yet vital, has given the savanna its next beginning. Tonight the sky is ablaze and the wild kingdom endures, not in spite of the fire, but because of it. Dawn breaks over a transformed world. Where the inferno once raged, the savanna now lies cloaked in a patchwork of ebony and silver. Charred earth interwoven with dew-soaked ash. The air is tinged with the scent of smoke and rain, evidence of nature's relentless cycle. Yet beneath this quiet desolation, life stirs with determined purpose. In the cool morning hush, the survivors emerge. Herds of impala pick their way gingerly across the blackened expanse, their slender legs leaving delicate prints in the soft, ashen soil. At first the landscape appears barren, but sharp-eyed foragers discover what others might overlook. The first tender shoots, pale green and brimming with promise, thrusting upwards through the scorched crust. These pioneers are more than mere grass. They are nature's signal that recovery has begun. Elephants, the architects of the savanna, move in slow procession. Their trunks probe the ground, sifting through debris for hidden bulbs and roots that survived the blaze. With each step, they churn the earth, mixing ash with soil, helping to sow the seeds of new growth. Even their dung becomes a vessel of renewal, carrying undigested seeds to distant corners of the plain. Above, the weaver birds return to their singed acacia trees. Some nests survived, others must be rebuilt. With remarkable resolve, the birds gather fresh grasses, weaving new homes from the remnants of the old. Their songs, tentative at first, soon fill the air with hope, signaling to others that the danger has passed. In the shadows, smaller creatures adapt in their own subtle ways. Mongoose families emerge from burrows, their coats dusted with soot. They scavenge along the fire breaks, feasting on insects and grubs exposed by the flames. Tortoises, their shells still cool from their underground refuge, venture out to feast on the nutrient-rich shoots, their slow movements in perfect harmony with the land's gentle recovery. Predators, too, adjust to the altered world. Lions, lean from days of flight, prowl the open ground, their tawny bodies stark against the darkened earth. They have learned to hunt in new ways, using the sparse cover of surviving shrubs and the confusion among prey to their advantage. Cheetahs, ever watchful, exploit the open vistas, their speed now even more decisive on the uncluttered plains. As the sun climbs higher, the savanna's transformation accelerates. Rain clouds, drawn by the heat of the burned land, gather and release their bounty. Water seeps into the soil, coaxing dormant seeds to life. Within days, a mosaic of color replaces the monochrome. Wildflowers, grasses, and acacia shoots burst forth, painting the landscape with hues of renewal. The animals, each in their own way, become architects of this rebirth. Their movements, feeding, and migrations help to shape the new ecosystem, ensuring that balance is restored. In the aftermath of the firestorm, the savanna is not merely recovering, it is reinventing itself, stronger, more vibrant, and ready for the next turn of the eternal wheel. From ashes, awakening; from devastation, resilience. The wild kingdom endures, adapting and thriving in ways both ancient and ever new.